we're going to explain how to enable all LAN ports on your Converge router. This usually isn't something you need to actively enable, as all ports are generally active by default. However, there might be situations where a port appears inactive, or you suspect a configuration issue. Let's cover the most common scenarios and troubleshooting steps. 1. Check the physical connections. Begin by visually inspecting your Converge router and the cables connected to it. Make sure all Ethernet cables are securely plugged into both the router's LAN ports and your devices. A loose connection is the most common cause of a seemingly inactive port. Try reseating each cable firmly. Also, check the cables themselves for any visible damage. A faulty cable will prevent a connection, regardless of router settings. 2. Power cycle. Your router. A simple power cycle can often resolve temporary glitches. Unplug the power adapter from your Converge router. Wait for about 30 seconds, and then plug it back in. This allows the router to completely reset its internal processes and re-establish connections. 3. Check your router's administration interface. Access your Converge router's administration interface through a web browser. The default IP address is typically 192.168.1.1 or 192.168.254.1. Check your router's documentation for the exact address. You'll need the administrator username and password. Again, consult your router's manual if you've forgotten it. Once logged in, navigate through the settings menus. Look for sections related to LAN, ports, or network configuration. Some routers allow individual port control, but most Converge routers don't. If you see such options, ensure that each port is enabled. If you find any settings related to port activation or disabling, make sure they're all set to enabled. 4. Check for port assignment or VLAN settings, advanced. In more advanced router setups, you might find options for assigning specific ports to different VLANs, virtual LANs, or assigning static IP addresses. If a port is assigned to a VLAN that your device isn't part of, it won't be able to communicate. Unless you specifically configured VLANs, this is less likely the cause of inactive ports, but it's worth reviewing if the earlier steps fail. In most home setups, you shouldn't need to worry about this. 5. Check for device conflicts, IP address conflicts. If you're still having issues, ensure no two devices on your network have the same IP address. This can lead to connectivity problems. Your Converge router typically uses DHCP, Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, to automatically assign IP addresses, which usually prevents conflicts. But this could become a problem if DHCP is disabled. 6. Factory reset, last resort. As a final step, consider resetting your Converge router to its factory default settings. This erases all custom configurations, returning it to its out-of-the-box state. Be aware that this will require you to reconfigure your Wi-Fi network and any other custom settings. This step should only be taken after exhausting all other troubleshooting options, as it's a more disruptive solution. Refer to your router's manual for the exact procedure to perform a factory reset. If you still face issues after these steps, contact Converge customer support for further assistance. They may have specific troubleshooting steps or may need to diagnose a hardware fault.